I'm a returned volunteer who spent 3 months volunteering in Jharkhand, northeast India, on a project aimed at improving women's livelihoods, equipping them with new skills and financial literacy. And in this talk, I'll present photographs which record my journey as a VSO ICS volunteer and draw a cross-section through the diverse cultural identity of Jharkhand, divided into village lifestyle, livelihoods, people and place. I hope to provide an insight into the conditions of this society and how its people respond to them. The daily activities of people in Torajoria, the village I was staying in India, and most rural Indian settlements, are in response to the hardships which bear down on them. Vicious cycles develop where families become subject to destructive circumstances because of their entrapment within economic, social and environmental pressures. In the last image, a school was being built to accommodate the rapidly growing volume of children in the village. Working as a community is paramount, and privacy barriers are therefore infrequent. An activity normally executed behind closed doors is taking part in the streets here. Most houses act as shelters for livestock, therefore the line between public and private is blurred significantly as people use the open space of their village for such private tasks. As one of the most relied upon resources, bore wells are also social hotspots, shared between approximately 50 people. These wells irrigate the farmland for all families. They can also be used for recreation, no matter how discouraged by their parents the children are. As a volunteer, living in the village of Torajoria required using a well every day to wash with. This is a view of the bathing area I became particularly familiar with during my time in India and soon grew to hate very much. While agriculture is the primary source of income for families in rural India, for those in the city, markets are a very important means of income. A typical setup consists of brightly coloured fabrics adorning the street side, such as this display in Kolkata, which we visited whilst I was on my placement. Resourcefulness is key in any kind of trade or business. Families are large, demanding more resources than can be safely carried on a bike in one trip. The people of Jharkhand are remarkably industrious when it comes to overcoming these minor hurdles. This was a person who passed through our host village with, I think, 5 goats attached to his bike, which I found quite remarkable. So Palajori, a city close to Torajoria, where we were staying, is the workplace for many people looking to make money outside of farming. Here, the industrial jumble of the street is the setting for 2 men working on shoe repairs. Besides from the unsanitary and messy environment of Palajori, there's an abundance of colour. People are always busy and there's always something cooking. Possessions such as rickshaws and market stalls are decorated for their weight of significance to a family as sources of income, as livelihoods, such as this one. People in Torajoria, Jharkhand, live intimately with their surroundings, as I found. They spend much of their time crouched and sitting. Here, the mother of the family I was staying with is making a meal for us in the small courtyard of the houses we were staying in. Food is cooked in a small recess in the ground, set in a courtyard surrounded by houses constructed of mud. Much of the village is constructed using mud and must be frequently reinforced and rebuilt. The land, people live in a very intimate relationship with the land, and this is tenuous, but it does not impact their spirits. Integrated as part of the building, mud and cement form these benches which people can use to sit on and socialise with. Any skills possessed by members of the village are of great value, yet unfortunately cannot suffice as the primary means of income for most families. Bamboo is a very versatile material in the sense it's capable of making drinks, it's capable for constructing buildings and making things such as baskets. The natural environment and built environment in India intersect and coexist incredibly. Even in cities such as Kolkata, which is so built up, much of the infrastructure is interlaced. Despite being enormously respected, the growing population threatens to choke out much of the natural beauty in India. Staying in Torajoria meant becoming involved in all of the celebrations and rituals of its people. Here people are celebrating the birth of a baby in this village. People would flock into the streets, play music and dance when such moments like this occur. As one of the more isolated villages, Only accessible by unmaintained dirt tracks, Tarjari is home to a vast array of natural life and exotic species. This photograph is of a frog which I found in one of the wells which I used whilst I was there. At night these would flood into the street and it would be very hard to walk around without stepping on them. The main space of the village is a central street with houses branching from it. It is the social epicentre on the valley. Candles are lit and these are placed in front of people's homes. Spirituality is integral to the lives of these people in the village, and icons such as the tea light represent their deepest religious beliefs. Outside the village confines, paddy fields go as far as the eye can see. In the summer, heavy rain means it's impossible to farm on this land. However, the monsoon is the reason behind their incredible natural diversity. Dragonflies and butterflies are abundant. Living in rural India was at times quite overwhelming. The cultural differences and pace of life was so different to my own that at times it was hard to absorb and appreciate the place fully. Despite living with a native Indian family the whole time, the experience was always a matter of perceiving and interpreting rather than understanding, I found. Thank you very much.